Welcome to Conversations Live. For more than a decade, we've brought you the best in books, entertainment, celebrity interviews, and current events. When the movers and shakers of the world have something to say to you, they say it to us first. Now celebrating 17 years of broadcasting success, here's your host, Cyrus Webb.
And welcome back, everyone, to Conversations Live. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again, both for our radio audience in the South, as well as our online audience tuning in through iHeartRadio. We're glad you all could be with us as well. You know, one of the things we've been talking about a lot, especially in 2020, is that creatives just want to create. Even when we're dealing with a worldwide pandemic, it's great to see creatives out there being able to share their gifts, bringing people together, and giving us a little bit of entertainment along the way. Our next guests have definitely been able to do that. I'm excited to welcome Issa Bibbins and David J. Curtis to our program. They're part of the creators behind a new first COVID-19 related web series called From a Distance. It's making its official debut on November the 12th. We're going to talk to Issa and David not only about where the idea for this came from, but what it's been like for them to be able to share their own creativity with you guys and to already be able to see the early response. If you guys want to get the details for From a Distance, of course, we'll let you know where you can find those online. But Issa, David, hello to you and welcome to the program.
Hello, thank you so much for having us on.
Oh, look, the pleasure's definitely all mine, guys. Yeah, really appreciate you all stopping by and really sharing information about the series. We're going to get into that. Issa, David, since it is your first time on with us, though, we're going to go back a little bit and kind of talk about your journey. Issa, I'm going to start with you. I mean, you're an individual who's been able to create outside of this project, as David has as well. What has it been like for you to be able to discover your own creativity and to share that with all of us?
Well, creating is something that I love. It's a passion of mine, and it seems like the older I get, I just find different ways to create. I started off as a piano player, and then, a rapper, a songwriter, and then made my way into writing screenplays and scripts and poetry. So it's been really interesting to see how creativity evolves. When your back is against the wall, when you're going through things in life, there's always a way to be creative, and really 2020 has been a year where I found new ways to be creative with the From a Distance web series.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to being able to share that. And David, what about yourself? I mean, what has it been like for you to be able to discover your gifts and to share that with the rest of us?
I guess I get my storytelling aspects from my dad. He's been a storyteller in my life and didn't realize it until I became an adult. But I started off as a drummer, and then, I've always been curious and wanted to know how to put songs together, so I just taught myself production and engineering and, did the whole band thing, and that turned into, acting landed in my lap, and from acting, being a member of the Screen Actors Guild and being on set a lot, it just moved into production and storytelling, and that's where we are now, just telling stories, but on another scale. Right.
And another creative just joined the conversation. I think, David, you actually brought her into this project. We're excited to welcome Jackie Davis to our program as well. Jackie, thank you so much for being on with us. I was just talking to the guys about their own creativity and what it's been like for them to tap into that. What about for yourself? I mean, what has it been like for you to be able to discover your own love of creativity and to share that?
I think, bouncing off of David, my grandmother was our family storyteller. So it's just something, I think it's something innate within the culture. To jump into this new medium, though, has been very exciting. And I have to be very honest, at first I was very nervous and intimidated, but I do theatrical directing and choreography, and a lot of the same principles come into play of just getting the actors to put their best foot forward and put their most honest performance on. So it's been really exciting, and I'm really, really grateful for the opportunity.
And Issa, to come back around to you, and I'm going to get David and Jackie to chime in on this as well. I think one thing that 2020 has shown us, even before you guys probably came together for From a Distance, is the importance of connections, right? Because, I mean, each of us have our own talents, our own gifts, our own skills. But, Issa, what has it been like for you to be able to collaborate with other creatives and to create things like what you all have done with this web series?
Well, for me, connection is one of the things that is so important. being a pianist, one of the ways that I express my creativity is normally on Sunday mornings. Sunday mornings, I served for 10, 15 years in the Boston community as a minister of music. And when the pandemic happened, churches closed down. So, a way that I express my love and my creativity and my art and sharing it with other people, that came to a halt. So when Dave and I connected over the phone to talk about finding new outlets and creating stories, it was really important for me, not just from a storytelling place, but from a relational place to really kind of meet every morning. Sometimes, Dave, like at 7, 8 in the morning. It was the reason I got out of bed some mornings.
Yeah. Wow. And David, what about that? I mean, so this is an interesting chain of events. So, Issa had this idea. He was talking to you. What did you think when you first heard about what he had in mind?
Oh man, it was like a mind explosion because I had just been furloughed from my job, and I have to be honest. I'm pretty sure Jackie will agree that it kind of saved my sanity in my life to have something to it was something to look forward to do and to create throughout the whole pandemic. From February to now, we're still in it. And we're still creating. It was something to look forward to, and I was excited to be able to just meet with Issa and Jackie and just put pen to paper and just come up with some great stories.
Yeah. And Jackie, for you, I know you mentioned that this was something that was new for you. Was that also part of the excitement, the challenge of it?
There's such a rush, and to jump off of what David was saying, I was in the middle of a professional theater production when the pandemic hit, and I didn't know what my next move was going to be, and I was terrified for my health and for my career. And as David said, it's a breath of fresh air, and just the connection and the connectivity of putting your brain to work on something that is not perpetual worry, but giving birth to something, it really, really was a lifesaver for me as well.
Yeah. And I should say for our audience, and they'll probably recognize this from your bodies of work, each one of you have been able to find success in your own, in your own lane. But to be able to come together to create something like this definitely, I think, shows the importance of, as Issa was even saying, about the importance of coming together and making those collaborations and looking for ways to make things work. So, Issa, where did the initial idea for From a Distance come from?
I was having a conversation with a mentor of mine. She's a journalist and a pastor. Her name is Reverend Liz Walker. And we were having a conversation about stories and the different stories and how different lives were affected in congregations. And from that place, I began to just think about my own story and think about people in my family and all the different things that were going on in the lives of people around me. And, shortly right after that, I called Dave, and I got to give a shout-out to my friend and also co-writer on this project, Andre Donegan. I called Andre, and we started sharing stories over the phone. And within the next day or so, we started blocking out writing sessions and started writing stories and getting the script together. And before we knew it, we had a whole season.
Amazing. And Jackie, I want to go back to you for a second, and David, feel free to chime in on this. I know, Jackie, part of your work with this was being the casting director for this, as well as being a co-director and co-producer. So for you, I mentioned to David and Issa earlier, I got a chance to watch the teaser for one of the episodes of From a Distance, and to be able to see how this is us. We're looking at ourselves. It's crazy that thinking about what so many people are dealing with right now. It's like, well, my goodness, that's what I look like on screen every day now. What was it like for you to see how these people really embodied these roles?
I was so excited. First of all, we were just having a conversation last night, Dave, Issa, and I, about how fortuitous our timing was. So a lot of these people are our friends and colleagues, and nobody was working. So I think everybody was just so excited to work and excited by the script. And then Kat's editing, when I first saw the teaser and our first episode, I'm blown away, and I lean forward before our episode meetings. I'm a fan, leaning forward, watching the show, wanting to know what's happening next.
Yeah, right. Well, and we're definitely going to talk more about that. I want to say for those who are just tuning in, though, either on the radio side or online, you're listening to Conversations Live. I'm excited to welcome some of the creatives behind a really groundbreaking project. It's the first COVID-19 related web series. It's called From a Distance. It's making its official debut on November the 12th. We have Issa Bibbins joining us, also David J. Curtis and Jackie Davis. We're talking with them not only about their own creative past, but also how they've been able to come together now to work on this project. We're going to let you all know how you can stay connected with all the details. So, Issa, I want to talk about something that's been interesting for me to hear from creators, especially actors and producers this year, because I know some people kind of come to social media kicking and screaming. Was that a big part of your life before COVID? I mean, did you find yourself being interactive this way, or do you feel like this kind of enhanced your engagement on social media?
Well, I feel like for me, I was already engaged in social media in regards to a project that I was working on called The Treatment.
Gotcha.
That was dealing with social justice and music videos. Actually, David worked with me on a couple of those music videos, and we were blessed to, with one of the videos, win the Song of the Year in the hip-hop category for the USA Songwriting Competition. And so we were working on that project, and, as heavy as life is, it was getting really heavy dealing with the social justice music. And I had a conversation with David, and what I noticed was that I needed to connect with people more. Social media was getting played out for me, like, inboxing people and having messages when you couldn't connect. So the thing that we did, we started talking about, as I said before, the stories of people. In the conversations on the phone, I really felt more connected to not just my own story, but to what people were going through and how they were experiencing all the different dynamics of what was going on in the world, police brutality, and all the different things that were going on. Sometimes we look at those things as political issues, but there are things that are affecting us in our own households and in our own lives.
Right. Really good point. David, what about for you? What was your relationship with social media prior to the working on From a Distance?
I think one of the things that I use, as an actor, I would use social media as more as like a promotional tool. And I started, throughout this whole process, I started to use it as a way of really connecting more of a, just connecting with stories and people differently, more less than say like just a promotional tool, but a real connection. I started using it as a tool to just connect with family. One example of that is we're trying to have a family reunion, and we're doing it all through the internet, connecting and talking and having Zoom meetings. So it's become a way of life now for me.
Right. Wow. Yeah, I think a lot of people can mirror that right now, David. Jackie, what about you? I mean, what was your relationship with social media prior to what you all were doing now? I know one of the places people will be able to watch the series will be on Facebook, but before this, what was your relationship like with social media?
I think the same as my colleagues, a lot of it for promotion. I have two separate Facebook accounts. One is specifically geared towards promoting anything I do as Jackie Davis, actor, director, choreographer, producer. And the other one is my personal one that I connect with family, that I do social justice work, and especially over COVID, just keeping in touch with people that you can't see anymore face to face. And David, I'm stealing your idea.
Well, look, I think again, that's the connection people are going to feel about this. Issa, I've kind of tapped around this. I think we should probably let our audience know, because we're going to let them know where they'll be able to see the series on November the 12th. Talk to them about what the series is about and what they'll kind of see unfold during the first season.
So the series is chronicling the lives of 14 different people, and they're telling stories about what their experiences during the pandemic and how the relationships of these 14 people connect. I don't want to give away too much, but there's a lot of interesting twists, and there are a lot of interesting turns about how these relationships are all connected, even though we're connecting from a distance. So that's what the series is about. Maybe Dave, you want to say something else about the series as well?
I think a lot of the stories are taken from real life situations. To be honest, I'm not going to give any of the stories away, but we just took a lot of the real life stories and put a little, artistic license to just change a few details and names and situations. But it's these stories come from a real place.
Right. Jackie, I want to ask you. You were talking about what it was like for you to see it, to be able to watch it as a viewer. Do you think part of the connection that we will feel with the series, and I know I felt it in watching the teaser, is that regardless of the race of the individuals or where we see them, that we really are making a connection with this, even though it is something that is also entertainment?
Absolutely, and we see ourselves, as you said earlier, right? So you're not just seeing black and white. You're seeing queer. You're seeing straight. You're seeing a rainbow of folks. And also COVID has made us the great equalizer. We're all having to deal with the same situation and find ways to keep connecting with each other, because I think what COVID has shown us is that we can't do without each other. We need that connection with each other, human beings. Yeah. We don't like being isolated.
Yeah. I think that is so true, and I think that is a great thing for sure. So I want to ask you all, if you don't mind, and I really appreciate this time, but before we go around and get everyone's contacts so our audience can stay connected with you all, I want to ask you all about what you hope for creatives out there, who may look at what you all are doing, or even just thinking about where they are, right? We were talking even before we went on the air about verses, and I referenced earlier D Nice bringing people together with music and just having a good time. Jackie, I'll start with you. What do you hope creatives realize about what they can do now, even though they may not be able to do some of the other things they want to do, about taking advantage of what they can do right now?
I lecture college kids, and what I tell all of them is just roll with it. And I'm not trying to minimize it. As a race of beings, humans are adaptable. Zoom is now a part of our everyday life as if we've always had it, right? Is to learn how we can now connect with someone in Paris if you wanted to. So there are ways to still connect. There are people that are out there looking for folks. We've learned that you don't have to get up and shower and leave your house every day to go to work. So the work is out there. It's out there. It's just adapting to the time that we're in and preparing and keeping yourself ready for when it goes away, because it will. It will.
Yeah. Really good point. David, what about yourself? What would you say to creatives out there that are looking at what you all are doing with from a distance, but also just thinking about what they could be doing moving forward?
Oh, man, I think storytelling is just it's paramount. Tell your story. Who would you have to tell your story? Who better to tell your story than yourself? One case in point, unfortunately, I had a brother who I lost earlier this year, and I was in the middle of editing his memoirs. He had written his memoirs like maybe a year ago, and I was in the middle of editing it when he passed. And I got to know his story even deeper than I had knowing him. And, if it wasn't for him writing these memoirs, there would I wouldn't really know, and to pass this on to his children or his children's children, So his story, the story is paramount. Write your story.
Great advice. Issa, what about for you? What would you say to creators out there who are looking at what you all are doing now with this series, but also just thinking about where they are?
I would say connect and collaborate. This experience for me, I have had the opportunity to, through social media, meet so many new people who have stories to tell, who have lyrics or songs to sing, and we've been able to, through Zoom, through email, through Dropbox, through all these different mediums, share content and collaborate together. So I think that, in a time where we can't get out the house and, necessarily jump on a plane and go where we want to go, we have the opportunity to, reach out and meet new people and see different parts of the world and understand what's going on in the world and realize we're much closer and the world is much smaller than we think. And on that note, I saw a video today in regards to the tragedy that's going on in Nigeria. And I reached out to a producer over in Nigeria, and he was interested in collaborating on the song. So I'm really excited about just, having the opportunity to collaborate with a producer in Nigeria, and that would have never happened if we weren't living in these times.
Right. What a great point. And what a great panel with the three of you. Again, everyone, Issa Bibbins, David J. Curtis, and Jackie Davis. They're some of the creatives behind this brand new project that's premiering on November the 12th. You guys will be able to watch the first COVID-19 related web series. It's called From a Distance. So, Issa, I'm going to go with you and go around. First of all, how can our audience stay connected with the series and be able to see it on November the 12th? And how can they stay connected with you as well?
So you can check us out at FAD Series. That's FADseries.com. That's the website. That's the hashtag on Instagram. That is the Facebook page. So FAD Series, look up FAD Series, especially the website. Come subscribe. We can give you all the updates that you need at FADseries.com. And if you want to learn a little bit more about the music that's associated with the project as well, please check out pearlfortheworld.com. Pearlfortheworld.com.
All right. Appreciate that, Issa. David, what about you? How can our audience stay connected with you?
You can see what I'm up to in addition to the SAD series. This is my life right now. But you can reach me at davidjcurtis.com to see what other projects and things that I'm up to as well.
Okay. All right. Thank you, David. And last but certainly not least, Jackie, how can our audience stay connected with you?
Thank you. They can reach all of us on the FAD page, FADseries.com. We each have a link to our own personal website, and mine is JackieMLikeMarieDavis.com. Thank you.
All right, Jackie, appreciate that. Issa, David, Jackie, great conversation with the three of you. Congratulations again on From a Distance. Again, make sure you guys are visiting FADseries.com. For those joining us on iHeartRadio, we'll make sure that we link that for you guys to make it easy for you just to click on it there. And to the three of you, know that you all are welcome back here anytime. Looking forward to speaking again.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
having
so
us
much.
on the show.
Thank you. We love it.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having us.
Yes.
The pleasure is definitely all mine. Glad to be able to do it. And we thank your audience for tuning in to another great segment of Conversations Live. I want to definitely give a shout-out to our friends at Big Media Agency for setting this up for us. And thank all of you for tuning in to our program today. Until next time, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying, as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Live. Let's make today amazing. Take care.